Did not go quite as planned, but as you can see on our last, just like on our last compact, even though it was a 72, the Sunshine Machine, it was exactly like this. So no problem. I've got all the measurements I need. We just kind of fell apart at the seams here. Just after a quick once over of the frame, everything looks fine. Little hoot-dinky in the back right there, but otherwise not bad. I'm gonna pull this all the way off and get this out of here for cleanup, set off to the side, and we'll talk about rebuilding that. Here's something I'm gonna share with you because I've messed it up a lot and I've had to adjust a lot. I've gotten better now. And I thought, you know what, this is a good opportunity because we just got seeing and we're taking our time. We got seeing the different parts here. But let me just take you out here and show it to you real quick. You know, right here is the middle beam right here, okay? And everything, let me drop this, see if I can drop you down one more. There we go, that's a little better. So we've got our beam right here. That's what everything's gonna set on. Now, this is what our wood's gonna set on, and that's gonna be, it's really about 2 7/8. We're gonna call it 3. So we need our rail, those 2 in the middle, to be 3 inches by however long we'll make that measurement. Plus, we're using a 1/2-inch board, plywood, so we got to be 3.5 inches here. Okay, so at your 3.5-inch measurement, it should be 107, because that's the board plus the plywood, and that's where our 107-inch measurement is at. Then we put the extra 2 inches on it. So I hope you're following me on that. Okay, all right, let's get in here real quick. Yeah, we'll back it down. Inside look at production at World Headquarters. Okay, so what we want to do, when I stop that from wiggling, okay, we're going to come up from the bottom here, and we want to go not up, can you see me? Not up here, but even with it. Well, actually, it's going to be this one is our measurement. So I'm going to come up 3.5. Well, I used a 3.5 foot down there, so that's going to be our measurement. So we're going to just measure from where that comes up like that on that angle. This one was down here was closer to, I think it was almost 20 degrees. All right, let's take our measurement. And the measurement, remember, we're at 3 1/2, which should put us at 107. I did not measure this, not at all. I just, remember, we just traced it. But that's okay, because now's the time when we can make the adjustment on the floor, right? So if it's 106, we just make the floor 106 and 108, right? If it's a little bit longer, we just make it a little bit longer. No problem. So we are at 107 and about 1/2. So that's no problem. That's no problem at all. We just got to make sure it's really between 3/8 and 1/2. What are we going to call that? 5 or 9/16? I don't know. What is that? No, 8/16 would be 1/2. 7/16? See, I go to eighths. I don't do 16ths. I don't do 32nds. I do eighths. So I'm going to say a heavy 3/8 or a light 1/2. That's how we're gonna do this. So good. This is measuring right. It's tracking right. I think we are on our way. Did I tell you that they put the pieces in the middle? Did we go over that? The extra pieces are in the middle, so it's 2 full 8 sheets on each end, 4x8 sheets on each end, and then the pieces in the middle. Did I tell you that? I don't know. Okay. But I'm going to go, that's my plywood right there, so I got to carefully, without moving this, it's sturdy, but you know, try to keep it nice. I'm going to pull those out, get it set up, start making my measurements. We're going to build this floor at 107 and a heavy 3/8. That's kind of like not the door side, but you know what I mean, right? Bridge to nowhere, you know what I mean. Heavy 3/8, it's just not a 1/2 inch. That's all. Okay, one more thing. And I'm sorry this is so choppy. And that's not to you guys, because you don't care. It's all edited. It's to the guy that's editing this. Russ, I am so sorry. But hey, listen. You know, that's just how it is. I told you that this was, I don't know if I did tell you, I measured 76 wide, or 78, based on the width of the tin on the back. And the rafters, it was 78-ish. So 78 would mean that it is minus less than an inch. A heavy 3/4. Maybe a heavy 7/8. Actually, it would be 7/8, so I can do that. Okay, 7/8 to 7/8 is 14H, which would be 1 6/8, 1 3/4. 1 3/4. So 78 minus 1 3/4 is 76 1/4, right? Welcome to the math lesson. So let's measure this, because this will give us exactly where we need to be. So it's 76 1/2. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go 76 1/2 instead of 76 1/4. And that will make as much use of our outriggers as possible. And let's make sure, see, we've got this little bit right here. And if we see that still there, do you see what I'm talking about? Let me get you in here. There's just like a bare spot right there. Bare spot right there. So that tells me that the whole thing is 76 1/2. So 76 1/2, and then we'll go outboard 1 3/4, which would be 78 1/4, I think. Told you I do quarters and eighths, but yeah. So we are going to build the deck at 76 1/2. Okay, now let's do that. Welcome to Do It Twice Theater. My name is Rob Dumas, and I like to cut things twice. Let me show you why. I knew better, of course I knew better, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So the piece that goes in here, this will come apart. That middle piece will go through here, right between the wheel wells, and it's going to be, I think, 11 1/4. So Shasta, the engineers at Shasta, said, you know what? If we make this thing exactly 76, the floor exactly 76 inches wide, and then you take off 14 inches for that wheel well and 14 inches for this wheel well, this piece that you cut off from down there is exactly 48 inches, which will be exactly 48 inches here. But Rob Dumas said, I'm going to add easy for Rob Dumas to say, I'm going to add a 1/2 inch just to make up for that. Well, Rob Dumas, you're living up to your name, son. So it's exactly 76 for that reason. So they didn't waste lumber, because that would have had to have been 48 1/2. And you're not going to cut a new sheet of plywood to do that. So I'm going to go make this the correct depth. The length is obviously correct. I will pull these apart. I will slip that in there and we'll get to work. How does that make you feel? Because it makes me feel really good. Now, if you remember what we were working with before, I did add some, and I do want to explain to you, let me get down off this step stool, what I did. Now, this was normal, as was the one on that side. This one and this one, all the way down, normal, except that it was half this size. Okay, this is 2x4, those were 1x4s. I just made them a little more stout. Now, these were not there. That was not there. This is upside down, so it's the door side. Now, when you step in the door, you're going to be stepping right here. I mean, this is pretty stout, and running right here is going to be the rail. So the rail's there, but that would have been about 14 to 16 inches with nothing sturdy. So I just put this in there, and it'll hang on two outriggers like that. And it'll feel, sometimes when you step in, you know, and maybe you step heavy, and you're like, oh, you don't want to feel that. And you're not going to feel it with that because that's exactly where your foot goes. And on this side, this is where the potty closet is. So the rail, again, runs right here. So this rail's here. That rail will be here, but it kind of goes like that. And then these two right here, especially this one, because the potty closet is really kind of wide open towards the front. And sometimes it'll feel a little smushy. That will take care of that. Now, I still have not, oh my gosh, it's getting hot. Boys, it's getting hot. I still have yet to make my decision, 54-inch bed, or are we going to do a dinette? But either way, even if it's a 54-inch bed, you're going to step on where this crease will be, the seam, okay? You get out of bed, boom, that's what you're going to get. And if the bed would cover this whole, 54-inch bed would cover this whole thing right up to here. So if you stepped off here, you stepped off there, you get what I'm saying. So even if we go with a dinette, you're covered here. Even if we don't go with the dinette, we go to the bed, that's still covered, no problem, just extra, lovely. And then this is there for you to step off the bed. Oh, boy. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm almost tempted to put one there. Well, really, you're going to come out 20 for your kitchen cabinet. Worst case scenario, one goes there. I'll think about it. But otherwise, this is be under the bed or under the dinette. There's no problems whatsoever there. Sturdied right up. Went together real nice. These 2x4s were straight as an arrow, so that always helps. Now, the last few things I can do until I sell a camper, because I just don't have the room. Somebody come here and make me an offer I cannot refuse on these beautiful campers. What's wrong with you people? Anyway, yeah, that's how you sell a camper. Tell them there's something wrong with them. Curly, I need you to help me sell a camper, buddy. All right, a couple of things I can do. I can undercoat this. And that's not a bad thing to do, and let it dry before I mess with it. So I'll put that on my list of things to do. I need to get in here, power wash this, inspect all the welds, clean it up. I could even, at that point, repack the bearings, inspect those, see if what's going on. Just check it out. I need that's got a little hoodinky in it. Straighten that out. But as I talk to you and I look here, I don't see any obvious welds that are a problem. So we can also get this totally cleaned up, smoothed out, and then we can get the undercoating on it and pack the wheel bearings. Check that out. So those are things I can put on my list, and as I've been kind of keeping you up to date, because I'm getting ready to go back to my real job, it is now Friday. And it is a little past my lunchtime, so I put in a little OT, but it's going to be 101 today, boys. Whew. So that's enough for today. I'm going to leave this set up, and I may, what's tomorrow? Saturday. I may come out first thing, get that thing, just look at all that mess I made. Get that completely power washed, let it dry, undercoat, clean up and undercoat, and or better do the bearings first. Yeah. So that's my marching orders, and I've only got Saturday and Sunday that I need to do something to keep myself occupied before I go back to work. That's where we're at.